Hey guys, how you doing? Welcome back to the channel. So what we're going to talk about today is what you need to do when you're going to go and view a house or, a flat that you're going to rent or buy, and what not to do as well. Okay, so I've got a list down of what we're going to go through. It's not going to be a long video. It's going to be straight into it, what you're going to need to do and what not to do. So we're going to start with what not to do. When you go to the house, don't show up on time. If you got to be there 4:30, don't be there 4:30. Be there at least 4:10, 4:15, so you can have a walk around the house, know what the neighboring community is like, see if you can spot anything that you don't like or what you do like. So that way, you're already around the area and you're not stuck in traffic anyways. Arrive 10, 15 minutes before. When you actually go into the property, don't zip in and zip out like you're going to the Primark or you're going to Lidl just to check in and check out. This is a property that you eventually are going to put a lot of money towards if you end up liking it. So you want to make sure that you take your time and you actually view each room, give each room. If you have to set a timer on your phone, then please do it. The sellers are not going to hurry you up. You go in there. I'm going to give this room 3 minutes to 4 minutes, have a look around, have a discussion with whoever you might be with, because it actually helps to bring someone else along with you. Preferably someone that's already living in their own house and they know what to look out for as well, okay? You can always bring your mom and dad, but they're just going to be nitpicking at every single thing that they see. So yeah, arrive not on time, a little bit earlier. Don't zip in and out through the house. And you want to have a mindset of what you want to change, okay? Just because you're seeing the house the way the sellers are living in it doesn't mean that's exactly how you're going to be living in it, okay? Because they might not have their TV, mounted on a wall, and you might want to have it mounted on a wall, and you didn't envision that. So it's always good to have a few things noted down of like, this is what I would want and this is what I would like, okay? So have a vision mindset of exactly what you're looking for. Don't always buy into exactly what the estate agent is telling you about the sellers of the house. If the sellers are not there and you're going through an estate agent, don't always buy, because their job at the end of the day is to sell that property. An estate agent is going to feed you the best lie ever, saying these guys are moving, far out. They're going to buy a bigger house. It's going to have a pool and all that kind of stuff. You don't know. So just don't let them give you a nice idea of, oh, because they're moving into a bigger property, then they're definitely, you never know what's going to happen. So go there with an open mindset, blank canvas, and just write things down that you know is going to help you out. Okay? Obviously, when you're there either with the estate agent or you're there with the actual sellers, if you see any flaws around that house, do not then go and start pointing it out and being like, I see a crack in that wall. It's going to need to get fixed if you want me to buy this house, buddy. That ain't going to get you nowhere. Keep it, write it down, because if you actually end up wanting this house, you can actually tell your solicitor when it goes down to the route of being serious, you put the money down, you can negotiate the price a little bit lower because you've seen things. It's always good to have cards that you can play at a later stage, okay? You don't want to show them all your cards. It's no fun, okay? So when you come into the house and you see something that probably needs to be changed, maybe like the fuse box, if it's not been updated to the modern one and you need to change that, don't tell them, about it. Just write that down. Know when it comes to structure and negotiating the deal, you can actually tell them, right, that's going to cost me £500 to replace or £600 to replace. Can you take that price off? Or can you, the sellers, fix that for me before I actually move in? Trust me, when you start negotiating, you need to have a lot of cards that you can play that can put things in your favor. We're enthusiastic. Do not be over enthusiastic when you go into the house, because you need to understand the sellers. They've seen a lot of people come into their home, come into their family home, and they're gonna have people in their mindset that they want to sell the house to. So if you're coming across as not genuine, they're gonna pick it up, okay? Because you don't know how many people they've seen. It's the first time that they're seeing you, it's the first time that you're seeing them, but how many, maybe probably on the 20th people that stroll into their house. So they've had short conversation, long conversations, and people in between. So they're pretty much clued up about, is this person genuine? Do I want to sell this people my house? Because at the end of the day, it comes down to them. Yes, they want the money, but they can always say no to you. So don't be over enthusiastic. All right. So one of the good things that leads into when you're actually in the house either you're with your estate agent or you're with the sellers themselves, you want to ask them, what is your time scale? What exactly, where are you within this process? Because you that you're looking to buy, you're ready to move in. If you could have it your way, you could just hand them the money. They can hand you the keys, but it doesn't work that way. It's always good to know exactly where they fall on the time scale. Are they just moving back to a parent's house? Are they in a chain where they need to start looking for a house so that they need to get the go ahead from their solicitor because you decided to go ahead with their house and then they start looking for one? Or are they already so far ahead that they actually need this house to be gone within the next 2 months because they need to move in 2 months? So always find out the time scale of exactly where they're at. It helps you out a lot more, okay? Take a friend along with you, like I said, because obviously another set of eyes is better than just yours, okay? Because what they've seen, you might not see it. They'll have that discussion with you later in the car, driving back home. It's always good for you to take notes down. And obviously, not everybody's going to allow you to record their personal home, but if the person that you're going to meet, that you're going to see, and you ask them, just ask them, am I allowed to record? Because obviously I'm going to show this to my mom. I'm going to show it to my partner. She's not here, unfortunately. She had to drop into work or emergency purposes. Or you want to show it to a family member. Can I record? It always is good when you record because you can always watch it back. Yes, it doesn't give the feel of you being there right there in the moment, but at least you've got another thing to look back on and you can actually, oh yeah, slow that down. There's something that I saw there. I'm gonna note that down so I can negotiate at a later stage. Okay. And you also want to check the estimate of the bills that comes in through the house, okay? Because you got to understand that you're buying a house. It might be your first, it might be your second, third, however it might be. You also want to have a rough idea of how much the bills are coming down to in the house. Okay, if the house is really good and high energy efficient, it retains a lot, the house is well insulated, it's got a solid foundation, there's no cracks within the walls, all of these stuff, you can always look around and, you can ask about the bills, you can ask about, the council tax as well. It's always a good one because it saves you time having to try and find out exactly how much it's going to be. If you want to just, be a little bit more in depth of what you're looking for and how you're trying to judge ahead of time of what bills it might be, then yeah, ask them. How long have they been in the property? That's always a good one to ask because if they've been in the property for that long, the people that we bought the house from our one, they've been in the property for more than 20 years. So that means nothing was chasing them out of this neighborhood anytime soon. Community, locals, every resource in around here, they've got pretty much everything. So it's always a good idea to ask them how long that they've been living here, because if they've been living here for as long as 10 years, then it means it's got everything around that they need. Also, it's always good to ask them, have they, you can, instead of, you can ask, you don't ask, spent money on the house, because if someone spent money on the house, you can see it the minute you walk in. If they've had the kitchen refitted, if they had the back garden, there's a new fresh patio there, there's a new door frame has been put in, the windows, everything is looking brand new. Yeah, those guys have spent a lot of money, hence why the price, okay? So it's always good to have a lot of cards that you want to play to bring the price down a little bit, but you also have to consider the fact that these guys have spent quite a bit of money. So at no point in time, because that new kitchen that they just fit in is going to cost them another 20K. So don't think you can drop the price down by 10 or 20K. It's just not going to work, okay? Also, you want to have a look at the loft if you can. So that way you can see if it's boarded up, well insulated, there's no cracks within the tiles or the roofing, you can't see any sunlight or anything like that. That is always a good sign. And you also want to see the space that you're dealing with, because when you're moving in, you want to have a place that you want to store all that excessive stuff, because obviously you can't just put everything in the rooms. At the end of the day, it's gonna have to go up somewhere. So check out the loft if you can. It's always, the sellers will always do their best to show it to you, tell you to go up there. They're pretty much not going to hide anything. If they have a bunch of stuff up there, then they might say, okay, we've got a lot of stuff up there. What else have I got on my list? Pardon me. I've got a list as usual. Whenever I'm on YouTube or doing anything, the book and the list is always going to show up. So yeah, look outside. You've got to walk around the actual property. So when I say look outside is before you stroll in. This is why it's good to arrive 10-15 minutes before. You look at the front door, you look at the entrance, you look at the driveway if it's got a driveway. If it doesn't have a driveway, you look at it. The front garden well maintained, the fencing around, the barrier from your back garden to the other person's back garden, is it in good condition? Because if it's not, who's it down to get it fixed? You want to make sure that all of these things are put in place. You want to make sure when you go to the back garden, everything is neat, it's tidy, there's no cracks on the outside wall, the painting, all of these things. Then there's no because it's easy for someone that wants to sell you a house to make the inside look amazing, but they hardly spend a lot of money outside. And when you'll see a house from start to finish, so you from the beginning of the house, the entrance, the driveway, to the inside, which is going to look beautiful to their, to their extent, and then you go outside and you see the back garden and you see the surroundings of it. There's everything. If everything is all pointing up, then that's a good, well-maintained, structured house. Okay. Also, if you notice any damps or anything in the ceilings, it's also another thing you can keep to yourself, and then have a chat with your solicitor if you end up want to go ahead with that house, because you can always bring the price down. Once again, don't go to the sellers and be like, I noticed the damp of the top left corner over there. So what are you going to do about it? You've already played your card. You want to keep that to yourself, have a chat with people, and that way they can tell you when you can play that card. Check estimate of bills. We've already talked about that. Fuse board, the boiler. Want to make sure the boiler is serviced as well, because not a lot of people get that serviced. Hey, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So that's how the saying goes, right? So if you've got a boiler up there and nothing's been wrong with it, why am I paying someone out to come out and just have a look and give me that certification that it's fixed? However, if you're buying a house, you're definitely going to need this, okay? Make sure the boiler's been double checked. Gas certificate as well. You want to make sure there's that certificate is up to date. Okay, it's not something that was 6 or 5 years ago. Just because nothing is wrong with the gas, I don't smell gas, or nothing's wrong with the boiler, doesn't mean I'm not going to get someone to update it and tell me everything's in good working conditions. Okay, all right. Thank you very much for staying this long. As usual, guys, please subscribe, share, hit that notification button, and I'll see you in the next one.